My wife is cheating on me with young guys, after I paid for plastic surgery on her boobs. If you are one of the people who likes to listen to stories of broken marriages, cheating between couples, lies, infidelities, emotional manipulation and fights between lovers, this type of video could be for you. How did the husband discover his wife's cheating? How much did the change in the wife's behavior affect the children? What were the signs that created certain doubts in the husband about the possible infidelity of the wife? What could be the emotional reasons why a woman cheats on a man, when her marriage can be considered stable? It will be the focus of the story that we will start telling right now. My name is Charles and I have been working for the last 5 years as a dispatch and shipping associate at the largest electrical product warehouses in the region. My wife's name is Karen, who right now works part-time in a large supermarket chain in the state, during the hours that the children are in school. My wife Karen and who is telling the story have been married for about 14 years, with the ups and downs of any marriage. Between my wife and I we have 3 beautiful children, 2 girls and a little boy. Elizabeth is the name of the oldest girl, who is 11 years old, Heather is the name of the youngest daughter who is 8 years old, and the youngest boy is named as Kyle who is 3 years old, who next fall enter preschool. The plot of this short story is centered on a woman who cheated on her husband after many years of marriage. It all started when the husband paid for a plastic surgery on the breasts, a liposuction on the abdomen and also paid for a personal trainer, as a way to raise the self-esteem of his wife, who considered herself an unattractive woman with a body that made her feel ashamed. Many times she also felt like an unhappy woman, depressed and did not participate in the normal activities of the mothers, which affected the children, because they did not enjoy the normal activities of their age. Many times the man perceives that his wife has problems, he believes he has the power to solve the wife's problems, when this problem should be treated by a human behavior professional or a family therapist. Sometimes a husband, when trying to please his wife, and seeing her happy trying to fix their problems or pleasing her in everything, looking for solutions, produce the opposite effect. The least that a husband would think, that his wife of so many years together, after raising her self-esteem, and learn to love her body, his wife would begin to insinuate herself to other men, and the worst mistake a woman can make, when she started sleeping with other men, much younger than her. Like the story I'm telling now about Karen cheating on other men, behind her husband's back. Many married or single women want to feel beautiful for many reasons, in which impressing a man other than their husband must be part of this reason. My wife Karen, before having her first pregnancy, was a woman who had an extremely sexy, attractive body, which was the desire of many men and the envy of women. As a result of her first pregnancy, her body began to change as a result of normal pregnancy changes, where she was overweight. Certain spots appeared on her skin, and let's not talk about breast sizes. Many women after giving birth tend to recover their figure by exercising and maintaining a balanced diet, while other women maintain the overweight of pregnancy, as was the case with my wife. As a result of being overweight, my wife began to feel ashamed of her body, by wearing larger size clothes to hide her overweight. Do not have the slightest doubt, her insecurity as a woman, her low self-esteem and body shame became the center of attention for my wife, which was controlling her life, but also that of the children. My wife is the type of woman who never does anything by herself, she always needs someone to push her. She is a woman who gives up easily in everything she sets out to do at the first failure. Perhaps that is why, as a way of finding someone to support her in her need to lose weight, I was paying her as a personal trainer at the gym so that he would be motivating her all the time. For several months and a rigorous diet, my wife began to lose weight, and the change was remarkable, but her attitude also began to change. She felt very proud to be recovering that figure that attracted men, but she also began to feel good about herself when she looked at his body in the mirror. She began to wear more provocative and sexy clothes and began to go out with her friends to have a good time. As a result of this recovery of my wife's high esteem, one night she asked me that she wanted to have plastic surgery on her breasts, since they had fallen due to having several children, a request which I agreed to. As a birthday present and to help encourage my wife to continue with exercise and a balanced diet, I paid for her plastic surgery, which she wanted so much to do. My wife, from having small, flexible, unattractive but natural breasts, happened to have much larger and more voluminous breasts, products of the implants, the size of the breasts which attracted the attention of all men. And let's not talk about female friends from my wife, who praised her for having well-formed, beautiful and sexy breasts. 2 months later, my wife entered the clinic again to extract from her abdomen the type of fat that exercises could not eliminate, but also to reduce through surgery the type of extra skin, which has an ugly appearance, which is the result of multiple pregnancies. My wife went from being an introverted woman to being the center of attention at all family gatherings and parties, from being a woman who felt ashamed of her body, to feeling proud of her figure, showing everyone the physical attributes that all woman is proud to have. My wife began to use her new figure, apart from being the center of attention of all the female friends, also the center of attention of all the men, including some of my friends, and not to mention the young boys who said that my wife I had a hot body. But that change in my wife's personality had a negative effect, as she went from being an introverted woman insecure of herself, to being an extroverted woman, who fell into feminine arrogance, using her body figure to attract attention. I can tell that many times my oldest daughter, Elizabeth, was not pleased with her mother's physical change, and more the type of sexy clothes she wore when she picked her up from school, reasons why some classmate told her. They were insinuating to Elizabeth that your mother dresses like a prostitute, not like a mother, because of the outrageous way she dressed, even when she picked up the children at school. And let's not talk about her work, in which the supervisor constantly called her attention for not following the conduct and dress policy of the employees, who had to dress in a conservative manner, for the number of children who visited that supermarket. But employees were also prohibited from being too friendly with customers. Whether it's a male employee flirting with a female customer or a female employee flirting with a male customer, ethical behavior practices should be upheld by employees. Many of you have wondered if this change in my wife's self-esteem as a result of the fact that now she is not ashamed of her body has, in some way, benefited the amount of sex and intensity in the relationship between a husband and wife in the bed. My answer is no. On the contrary, the intensity, type of sex and quantity didn't vary much. And let's not talk about the quality of the relationship between spouses who have been married for more than 14 years. My wife began to use an excuse when making love to me, which made me suspicious that my wife could be cheating on me with other men. My wife brushed aside her role as a mother of 3 children and a wife out of attention for the compliments of men, but also the praise of female friends. How did I know that my wife, the mother of my children, was cheating on me with men much younger than her? It all started one afternoon when a coworker told me about my wife changes, that she was presenting the signs of someone who was cheating on her husband, that she wanted to go to the gym, change her figure. Using plastic surgery on the breasts were an excuse used by women as a way to find a solution to the lack of emotional, sexual and affective satisfaction that as a woman she didn't feel. Listening to my coworker's remarks, he told me a lot about the real marital situation between me and my wife. Something that caught my attention is that my wife, despite all the surgery, was still going to the gym so as not to lose her shape. An explanation which I found reasonable. My wife has been going to the gym for a year, and during that time she had more than 5 personal trainers, which did not attract much attention to me, since many of these personal trainers do it with different clients, changing from season to season. In order for me to know the reason for my wife's insistence on going to the gym even at times that she did not correspond to, I contacted one of my wife's first trainers, since I was the one who paid her salary. One of them, who no longer worked at the gym, told me that as a former worker it was not ethical to talk about the clients of the gym, and less to talk about someone who was under his supervision during the workout. But when I explained my situation as a worried husband regarding the behavior of one of her clients, I would have liked very much to know how she behaved. When I told him I was Charles, Karen's husband, one of her clients, as her personal trainer, after pausing for a moment, he said that I wanted to know about her behavior in the gym. When I explained about the suspicion that I had about my wife, he replied that this type of behavior never occurred while she was under my supervision as a personal trainer. But If I wanted to have much more precise information, I could give you the phone number of another personal trainer, about whom there were some rumors that he was sleeping with clients, including your wife, reasons why he was fired from his job. His name is Brian. When I heard the allegation of my wife's first personal trainer, that there was a possibility that she had cheated on me with other men, it was something that broke my heart, but at the same time it cleared up those doubts that you have sometimes, when you suspect that your wife is cheating on you. A day later, when I got off work, I left a message on Brian's phone, asking if she could talk to me, the wife of one of her former clients in the gym. 2 hours later he replied that he had no problem answering about his work as my wife Karen's trainer. Speaking directly over the phone, I told Brian about the speculations I had heard about my wife's over-sexualized behavior and flirting with other men in the gym. Brian, pausing for a moment, told me that this was a story that many young men commented on your wife. In my particular case as a personal trainer, it is something that we are trained to understand, that many women visit the gym as an escape from a bad situation at home, in which some of them may feel vulnerable as a result of being prey for young men. In gyms that are looking for that type of women to satisfy their sexual needs, it is a reality that there are many gyms right now, and your wife was not and is the exception. For some reason, Karen is a product of low self-esteem as a woman, who in the first months did not love her body. As soon as she lost weight, she began to receive praise from men, especially young men, who look at her as a prey where they can unload sexual needs without any kind of commitment. And let's not talk about money. Can I confirm that your wife Karen cheated on you with other men? It is a difficult question to answer when you were not present during the relationship or conversation about that alleged infidelity. The only thing I can talk about is rumors that everyone was talking about, and when those rumors are heard in a place like a gym, believe me, it might hurt. Listen to me, it's almost always true. Then I heard that she had had several plastic surgeries on her breasts and waist, which told me that your wife, a married woman with 3 children, was trying to compete for the attention of the men of hundreds of young girls who come to the gym for the same reasons. Remember, the gym is a place where men and women come to improve their body, at least that is the idea. But many come to compete, in the case of women, which body is more attractive, and for men, which body is more muscular. And your wife, for whatever reason, fell prey to that dynamic of competing with other women for the attention of men. Is your wife a bad woman because maybe she cheated on you with a young man? I am not the one to judge her. Does your wife have no boundaries when it comes to flirting with other men, including personal trainers? I can say no, because she did it with me and other trainers in the gym. But as I told you earlier, something that as a trainer sometimes you expect from a woman and more, when you have to touch her body as part of the training technique. Many times the personal trainer in the gym, for some reason women tell them about the problems they are going through at home and at work. Some women also trust their trainer and tell him everything as part of that trust which can be used by unscrupulous personal trainers in the gym, who take advantage of the vulnerability of women. But, in a place like the gym, which is visited by hundreds of young men full of masculine energy who think only of satisfying their sexual needs, believe me, because of the age of your wife and her need to be appreciated by men different from her husband, is the ideal prey that these young people seek to take advantage of. It is something that managers understand, and some establish policies that control and protect women who show certain levels of vulnerability before the sexual demands of these young men, as could be the case of your wife. And let's not talk about politics to prevent the sexual harassment that many women suffer in places like gyms full of boys full of masculine testosterone. It is possible that your wife believes that she is being appreciated by young men who ask her for sexual intimacy, when in reality she is being used by this young men. Being used sexually by men younger than her, that does not make her a bad woman. It simply makes her a confused woman in a stage of her life in which she seeks to be appreciated, valued, motivated and accepted just as she is, as a mother, wife and woman. After listening to the words, revelations and reflections of Brian, one of my wife Karen's former coaches, rather than feeling disillusioned or angry with my wife Karen, I began to see her with a feeling of compassion from a confused woman who does not know which is the right path to follow. What should my response be as a husband cheated on by a woman who has taken the wrong turn? Everything will depend on the answer she gives me, when she tries to deny or justify her infidelity. But, also the reason for the over-sexualized behavior of a mother of 3 children, especially when we talk about an 11-year-old girl, who looks at her like an example to follow as a young woman. As a result of cheating, should I divorce my wife and get custody of the children? It's too early to make that decision. Can a woman like my wife be saved from herself? It's something I don't know. Just as I paid to fix her body, should I also pay to fix her mind? It's an answer I don't have. Is it worth saving this marriage when the woman cheats on the man? In next chapter of this family drama you will get the answer.